Welcome, Johanna. Thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast. I'm super excited to talk to you about mindset and transitioning into becoming a full-time entrepreneur. So I think it's something that a lot of our listeners either face, or we all face it, whether we realize that we're going to face it or not. It's an interesting journey to go on. So to get started, I'd love to hear a little bit about like your entrepreneurial journey and how that started for you and what did that look like.
Yeah, thank you, first of all, for having me and for inviting me to your podcast. I'm really excited to record this episode with you. So, yeah, my entrepreneurial journey started kind of like 10 years ago without even knowing. So, back then, I shared a lot on my Instagram and I reached like 15K like 10 years ago. That was like quite big and it continued to grow. And then over the past 10 years, I kind of created my own personal brand. I back then had no idea where this was going, so kind of happened. And today I share a lot of like mindset tips around living your best life because I personally think and I feel like everyone should have the goal to live their definition of best life, whether that's starting your own business or working 9 to 5. You should still like live your best life, your definition of best life. So how did I start like the mindset work? During my life, I faced a lot of hardship. When I was 14, my brother he was 16 back then, he got diagnosed with cancer. So it was like really like tough, like hard times. And he taught me and my family so much about life and how to stay positive. And it also taught us how precious life is, how important it is to live your best life, because I feel like often we get into this hustle mindset and totally forget to live our best life, especially when you start your own business. So that's probably something we're going to talk about today. I wrote a book, Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain, based on my experience and how to move through difficult times and how to dance in the rain and how to learn to move on or to appreciate life. And also often we think life happens to me, like all these bad things happen to me, but more seeing it like life happens for me and all the opportunities that are still out there for me are amazing. So that's a bit of my mindset journey, how I started getting into that and helping others to see the good. And in 2020, I started offering mindset coachings around living your best life, following your dream, following your goal, and started offering one-on-one coachings, group coachings, and online courses all around living your best life and um, following your dream. Yeah, that's a bit about me. Maybe also, maybe you can hear an accent. So I'm from Germany, but moved to New Zealand 5 years ago, also following my goal, my dream, looking for ways, not for excuses.
Yes. Well, welcome to New Zealand.
Thank you.
Sorry to hear about your brother. That sounds like that would have been really challenging, but a lot of beautiful life lessons learned along the way as well.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you always think like like you always think, oh, it never happens to us or it won't, but you never know. You never know what life throws your way. And I think what I learned through that is definitely a mindset is so important. And even though it's like tough times, like hard things you have to go through, staying positive. It doesn't mean to be happy all the time, but just keep a positive outlook on life. Definitely shaped me to who I am today, what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's fun that you just kind of fell into all of this life a little bit as well, like in terms of just the way you started. Did you just start just sharing on Instagram as people do, and then it just sort of grew and grew and grew from there?
Yeah.
Would be like as a business owner, once you realize well, this is like going to be a business and you are an entrepreneur, what are some of those big challenges you faced in that business journey have been?
So when I realized, okay, I want to do this mindset coaching more, I have now a second Instagram account because it's more like the business of like where I offer my coachings. I think one of the challenges that I faced was defining my truth because there is so much on social media, especially once it's funny because I was doing it the whole time, my personal brand. I was doing it the whole time, but then I decided, okay, I make this a business. I start coaching. Then out of a sudden, of course, I had limited release popping up. I was like, oh, there are so many others out there that do what I want to do. Who am I to do this as well? Or who am I to offer this right now? And so really defining who am I kind of again in my business mindset coaching and not getting distracted by all the other accounts that are already there and kind of comparing myself. And also like the hustle culture, like I just mentioned earlier, like it's go, go, go. And if you are not working 24 hours in your business, are you even successful and stuff like that? I think that were like definitely challenges that I face, like also the work and life balance at the start. Because once I decided I make this a business, I kind of was like, I have to put all my work in there. But actually, before that, it was already working. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd make that him probably be really relatable to a lot of the listeners because we're mostly yoga teachers and that you don't want to like it's this weird cycle of then you get into the hustle thing and you maybe get stressed and overwhelmed. But as a student or as a client, you don't necessarily want to be learning or working with someone who's clearly stressed and strong because you're like, wait a minute, you're meant to be teaching me this enlightenment or relaxation, and so trying to like stay in tune with that side of what your offering is a bit of a challenge sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
How did you manage to overcome these? Was it mainly the limiting beliefs or that were holding you back?
Yeah, so it was like I feel like a lot obvious like I'm limiting belief in my mindset. I think one big thing was like getting to know me even better. Like I was always someone who spent a lot of time with myself and like do a lot of journaling, but actually figuring out what does success mean to me? Like how does a successful business look like to me? What's my definition of working for myself? And also figuring out when I work best. So I know I'm most productive in the mornings and also making sure to take a break because as a business owner, you can just keep on going. Like you can be like, oh, I can now do some emails. I can now also not prepare some posts, but really like knowing when are my focused hours and also what is like my priority, like what really needs to be done, not getting distracted. I think that's another thing, distracted by other people, like what they're posting and their success, and then you kind of compare yourself. I think what really helped me is to either mute accounts or unfollow accounts that I realized that I'm comparing myself to. So I think that's like a really big thing when you start your business. You can follow accounts to get inspired, but as soon as they trigger something in you, like as soon as you feel like, oh, I should be doing this, or why am I not that successful? Just sit with yourself and ask yourself, why is this triggering me, or why do I feel stressed about this? I think it's also really important to know that on social media, you don't see the steps in between. You see someone already being here, but you don't see how much they work to be up there. And there's like, don't compare your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 10 or something. So I think that's it.
Yeah, that's really good advice and very practical as well. Just unfollow, remove them if they're really triggering you and you can't get over that hurdle and still looking at their content and you still keep being like, oh, this person, just unfollow them. If it's someone you admire, you can always go and refollow them later when you're feeling really bad.
So even like muting, you can just mute that don't see their post or you're still following them, but you don't see them popping up, for example.
Yeah. This was one of the primary obstacles that you see people get stuck on while they're growing their business, especially new business owners.
Yeah, so definitely, like mentioned, like the comparing themselves to others. I think one really big thing that I realized when I start with people who want to start their own business is they're not sure on their vision or their mission, like what it really is, like what defines them and how they want to show up because they get so distracted by what other people are posting. It is so important to sit down and really be like, okay, how do I want this business to feel like? what are my values? How do I want people to feel like that work with me? How do I want to change people's life? Really becoming clear on your vision and mission. Like, who are you? Because we are the business as like yoga teachers and coaches. And yeah, we have to think, okay, what is my mission here? Like, what's the bigger picture? And I think that's like something a lot of people like that I work with struggle with. Just maybe when they feel like, okay, what is your mission or vision? That seems a bit like a big company, how they have on their website their mission and vision, and then it's feels like overwhelming, but it's actually nothing other like than sitting in a quiet moment and just writing down, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And how do I want to make people feel? I think that's like a great way to start as well. I love doing like a little mind map with all the things that come into my mind, writing them all down, the feelings, the connection, the relationships I want to have in my business. So that's like one challenge I see a lot of business owners facing. And the other one is the definition of success. So what does success personally mean to me? Because everyone has a different definition of success. Also thinking about like if you have like this definition, or like thinking, oh, I think this is what success is, really asking yourself, is it really what it means? Or is it something my parents told me? Is it something that I took on from family? Like that you can only be successful if you work hard and like work 7 days a week if you're when you're on your own business or something like that. So really defining, what does success mean to me? So I actually had like a little shift when I started my business account 2 years ago. I was really into the hustle. Like I really was going through that because I quit my secure job. And then I was like, I have to make this work because I don't have my secure income anymore. So I was really in the hustle and I have to work hard every day and you have to work many hours. And like I shifted, like I feel like I had to go through that to learn about this and just realizing success to me means living slow, like having the ability to live slow, running my business, but still taking the time to go for a walk in the morning. Or like, I mean, that's why I started my own business, to have that freedom. And I feel like once we get really clear on our definition of success and appreciating also the time that we can take to fill up our own cup, our business will flow so much better than when we stress ourselves. Like you just mentioned in the start, like yoga teachers, yeah, you are there to relax others. When you are relaxed and when you fill up your cup, you will like, the energy you give out there is so much better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's a tricky balance sometimes at the very beginning. Wanted to ask for the vision and mission. Is there a difference between those?
Yes. So the vision is kind of like where you want to take your business, like what you want to create. And the mission is what you're doing. Like your mission is to make people feel better right now. And your mission is to show up every day and give like a great yoga class and make people feel good when they leave the class. So that's your mission, what you're doing. And the vision is where you're taking the business.
So the vision is kind of like the big picture.
Yeah.
And grand scheme of things. And then your
Yeah.
mission's a little bit more micro on the day-to-day.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. And you mentioned how you quit and then you transitioned into your full time, and that was a bit tricky at the start. How do you
Yeah.
know when you're ready to transition 100% and
Yeah.
as out of your
And I thought
9 to 5 or whatever your stable secure income?
I found that question when I read it so good, because if you wait until you're ready, you will never start. You've probably heard that saying before, because you would always have like an excuse, oh, but I should get more hours in, or I should try to get clients first before I start, or you have all these excuses coming up. I feel like for me, I knew that I always wanted to do that, always wanted to work for myself, and I wasn't fulfilled in my old job, and I was just really craving to start my own thing. I just knew that I wanted to be my own boss one day. I'm a big fan of journaling and writing down my thoughts. So I feel like if you are at this stage where you're like, oh, I really want to start my own business and like when should I quit and am I ready? Like really journaling around about it, like writing your thoughts down. I think like one good tip for me, or like one good tip is to start putting money aside, like when you're still working full time, maybe make like a separate bank account for your business. And each month you put some money in there. Let's say, I don't know, 6 months before you quit your job or something. And this will be your money that will be your income for the first 2 months or something. You know what I mean? Like having it sitting there will take the pressure off you quitting your job, because you know you have your income for these next 2 months in that account. You probably at the start maybe can't live and spend as much money as you used to do in your full-time job. But I mean, that's worth it because you're gonna have your own business, and just knowing, maybe having the security, just knowing, okay, I have some savings and that like I can do that.
That's a good tip. And just, I know for me, having that financial stability is really important. But then I've had other people say that they just quit and make the leap and they have no idea, but that is enough to push me to actually make things happen. Whereas, yeah, I know for myself, that is enough to just make me go into a ball of anxiety. And it's not like I'm motivated. So it's good to have some kind of financial stability. So I guess like using journaling, like trying to figure out yourself and what you need to make that transition is going to be really important in terms of finances.
Yeah. Also, like figuring out like what kind of person you are. Are you someone who needs financial stability? Like you said, it's good for me to know that I have some savings there. I think another good thing is like basically like trusting the process, but also knowing there's always a plan B. So when you quit your job and you want to start your own thing, like just know, like say, of course, I'm always someone always think positive and it's gonna work, it's gonna happen, but also just knowing there is always a plan B. So if for some reason it won't work out, there are still options to apply for a job again. There's still the option to do lessons at a yoga studio again, or work at a cafe. Just thinking kind of the worst case scenario and just having a plan for that, and then it doesn't feel that risky anymore because you know there's even. But then the thing is, because then you have plan B if it doesn't work, but then at least you start doing it instead of staying in the job. So quitting the job, starting your like working in your own business, starting your own business, knowing that there's always a plan B if it doesn't work, but you won't even need the plan B because you're then in your own business.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you quit the job. Yeah.
If you do end up going to plan B, and because there's a lot, like there's so many things to juggle as a new business owner and entrepreneur, and it depends on what businesses that you're creating. But how do you sort of manage those expectations in your mind of what's maybe the big grand dream versus what's potentially realistic in the time that you have? If things don't quite go the way you thought they would to the big grand dream, how do you stay optimistic if it looks like you're leaning to plan B or something, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I feel like here again, I feel like I'm like writing your thoughts down. Like you will hear me say a lot, like journal about it and write it down. Our mind is just so powerful, and our thoughts create the reality that we see for ourselves. So I see like we all have different realities based on our experiences, based on what we've been through, based on what we got told is possible for us. So our mind creates the reality that we see out there. And if we think like, oh, this is not working, I don't have enough clients yet, I'm not successful, like that's us again creating this reality, and that will reflect on the opportunities we see for ourselves. So I feel like one big tip is to stay positive and to be like, hey, I know that I might not have as many clients as I thought I would have right now, but I know that this dream or this goal is possible. I know that I can attract more clients. I know that I can run my own business. I'm capable of running my own business, and I look for opportunities to make this work. Like changing your mindset around this and then knowing like, hey, okay, what do I have to do to get 2 more clients? Do I have to go in Facebook groups and introduce myself? Like we have nowadays so many opportunities to share what we do. Should I go to the local supermarket and put like a little card out there, yoga lesson at my home? Or, like there's so many things that you can do to put your business out there. Should I hand out some flyers at the kindergarten? Because I know a lot of mamas go there and maybe they're interested in like the class. Or should I offer a free class at a school for all the parents? Or I don't know, whatever your target group is. I think just when you are at this place of, oh, it's not really working how I wanted it to be, and maybe I should do plan B, really think about, oh, did I give everything I could? Like, did I actually put my business out there, or did I just look for excuses or tell myself it's not working? Because you create the reality for you, and just making a list with all the things you can do, like showing up at like a networking event or whatever, or like online, like I said, Facebook groups. I think that's how we also found each other, kind of, we like living in a time where we have so many opportunities, whether it's online or in person. Like, just, I feel like that's a big thing too, before you start going with plan B. Really think about, okay, what's a priority right now? Okay, I need income, I need more clients. Where are my clients? How can I find them? And yeah.
That's really good tip. Now, I like that, around just that mindset shift of how can I think about this differently in terms of marketing and actually getting income into the business. And you're right, there's so many options. And I think we often, like the online world has so many options, but we do often forget about those in-person things, especially if you are building a local type of business as well. I think you can still hand out flyers and those sort of things still too, but potentially.
You could go to all the gyms in your area and introduce yourself. Maybe, I don't know, depending on what kind of yoga teacher business you do, like if you say, okay, I can offer classes at your gym or whatever. Yeah.
I guess it comes back to what the success look like for you as well, because like, what is the ultimate goal and vision, and are there different routes that I'm not currently seeing that could get me through that success point, that maybe just the path looks a little bit differently than what I thought it was going to.
And then also often it's out of our comfort zone. That's like the other thing that is holding us back. Like saying, okay, posting in a Facebook group, I'm offering a free yoga class today in the park. Like, that's out of our comfort zone. That's us making ourselves vulnerable. And that's often what's holding us back from actually doing it. And you'll be surprised by how many people might show up, and then you get 2 clients out of that. Or it's just like taking the step out of our box, out of our safe environment, and putting ourselves out there. And once you've done that, you actually realize, oh, that wasn't that hard. I can actually do that again. I can offer that every month or something,
Yeah, so leaning into that sort of uncomfort. That brings us nicely around to working on your business versus working in your business. And I think a lot of new business owners, I definitely done it myself, and it's really easy to get tied up in the working on your business, but then you're not actually doing that sort of like client things, or it feels like you are, but you're not. Have you seen if you can doing stuff around those things?
Yeah, so I often call this being in motion versus taking action. So being in motion is working on the business, preparing all the posts you want to put up on your socials, and thinking about the things you want to post, like all these ideas, like motion, but then actually taking action, taking the step, like we just said earlier, out of your comfort zone and doing it is like the hard thing. Here I again feel like what helps is making a list that will be being in motion, like working on the business, a list of all the things I can do to get my first client, for example, and then being like, okay, today I do 2 of these things, and then actually like doing them and being your own accountability partner. And if you know that doesn't work, tell your partner, tell your friend, hey, I need you to check in with me, ask me if I have done these 2 steps today. I feel like often as someone, when we start working for ourselves, because we don't have a boss that tells us you need to do this, we have to be our own boss. But sometimes we need like a little accountability partner So whether it's your partner, your best friend, just tell them, hey, I want to do this today. And please check in with me. Ask if I've done these action steps, if I printed flyers and handed them in somewhere, for example, or if I have posted in the Facebook group, please check in with me. Ask me if I've done that. Something like that could help, just having like an accountability partner. They often also say, look, you have like this list of your motion, like working on the business, all the things that you can do, but then actually taking action, put them in your calendar. Say Monday morning, I just staying at the same example. Monday morning, I go for a walk and hand out flyers, or Monday morning, I put flyers in people's post mailbox. Yeah, exactly. So just really putting it in as an appointment, because we can get quite overwhelmed when we start our business. We have all these ideas, all these things we want to do. Yeah, all these endless to-dos, and then we sometimes don't even start because there's always more to do, and then we do a little bit of that 10 minutes and then we jump into the other thing, like quite overwhelming. I feel even overwhelmed saying this. So just really time blocking in your calendar and really block the time. Monday morning I do this, and then afternoon I do emails or something like that.
Yeah, some kind of organization, and I guess the working in your business can feel like you're working on your business sometimes, but if it's not really pushing you out of your comfort zone, maybe it's not. Or if it's not getting you clients, then you might need to look at some of those other things that are actually pushing you out of your client zone. You might be in the working on your business trap rather than in your business.
Yeah.
Especially for social media, I think, because that can be a time, like a huge amount of time, and it feels like they will get us some clients, but it's not 100% necessarily the thing that's moving you forward. And I guess as a new business owner, your goal is to get those first clients and actually start being paid. And if social media is not doing it, that's when you should probably start branching out into other avenues at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
What feels safe. And we talk a little bit about unconscious and conscious beliefs.
Yeah.
What are some, we've sort of already talked about some of the really common sort of conscious beliefs, I guess. Is there any others that you wanted to mention that we hadn't brought up?
Yeah, so I wrote a few down, like, for example, one thing could be, who am I to start my own business? There's so many others do what I do. Then I think one thing that could, like, the imposter syndrome, or like, I'm not good enough. What if no one signs up? Like all these limiting beliefs. And I think here again, it's so important to, change your mindset around that. Yeah, who am I to start my own business? Like, who are you not to start your own business? You know, like, why shouldn't you start your own business? Like, there are so many reasons why you should, kind of like changing your minds around that. Also, when you have like this thought of, there are so many others who are doing what I want to do, well, but these other people are not you. Like, you are a different person. You have your own strength. You have your own personality. You have your own experience that you can bring to the table. Like, just because others do what you do doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, because you are like a whole different person and you have so much to offer to the world. I feel like it's all about like knowing your worth and knowing that you are worthy to start your own business. And then also, sometimes we have like those subconscious beliefs. So our conscious beliefs are the ones that we are aware of, or like our logical thinking. I always say, like, it's like the tip of the iceberg, like 5%. And then under the water, there are so many beliefs that we're not even aware of that we kind of took on during our childhood, or during like going to school. Maybe someone told you you will never be able to finish, or like your marks are so, or grades are so bad. I don't know, like just something that we get told in school. I don't know. And we just kind of put that like in our subconscious mind. It's like everything we experience leaves kind of footprints in our mind. And maybe we think, as I don't know, because someone in our family, maybe our grandparents, they started their own business, but they had to sell their business, for example, because it didn't go well. So we kind of took on, oh my gosh, it's really risky to start your own business. But then you have to think, our grandparents, that was like 60 years ago, or like they lived in such a different time back then. We have so many more opportunities nowadays. There's the internet. There is like, we can literally be online with like second, And I feel like just becoming aware of these things. Why do I think it's risky to start my own business? Where is this coming from? Who told me that? And is that the truth? Just really like kind of, how do you say, like getting into the truth, like really going into the
Where it's coming from.
the road. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just like, wow, is that really true? And do I really want to believe that? And just shifting, just the mindset around that.
How do we really like discover these unconscious beliefs if there's something we're not conscious about?
That's like really hard sometimes because it's so like it's not in our conscious mind, like it's not something that we're thinking. But I feel like when we realize something triggers us, like for example on social media, when we realize, oh, this makes me feel a bit weird, and then really questioning, why does this trigger me? Or like really like sitting with your thoughts and like journal and asking yourself, what is actually holding you back right now? What, if I think about my business, what comes into my mind? Like, what worries do I have? And like writing them down, like just getting everything from your mind to paper often helps. Then getting to the road, like because you can feel anxious in your conscious mind about your business, but then getting to the road, okay, why am I feeling anxious? And then you get into like something that's in your subconscious mind that that you weren't aware of. So really slowing down and sitting with your thoughts and really digging deep. Like, why do I think this? Did someone in my family tell me running your own business is really risky? And then I feel like what helps then to shift that as well is looking at role models, or like looking at someone who achieved what you want to achieve, but not like comparing yourself, but just knowing it is possible. Or like maybe someone in your friend group started their own business and they're really successful, like taking them, like Anna started her own business and she's really successful and I know it works. Like just shifting your mindset and getting examples where it actually worked.
How do you reframe these in a way that you genuinely believe them?
The thing is, your conscious mind is the thought you choose. So basically, once you have the conscious thought popping into your mind, the good thing is when you get aware of it, you can change it straight away. Whereas your unconscious thoughts are the ones that are under the surface that you still have to uncover. So whenever you like, let's say you are working on your business, doing some emails, and you're thinking, oh, this email doesn't sound good, no one would sign up. That's your conscious thought. And you'll be straight away like, you can just stop yourself there and be like, hey, I know I'm just starting out with my email marketing and that's okay. And I know that people will read it and I trust that someone will sign up, or I trust this will get me further to my goal. Maybe people don't sign up straight away, but like just stay positive. Like I know that this will get me further and I'm putting myself out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
in that sense. To sum up to people, we have like journaling is really useful, finding role models, removing anyone that is triggering you as well that you see coming up on your social media. We talked about that, and just like really switching into it. I can do this, and how can I do this in different ways if it's not working, the path is not working the way I planned it to.
I think one other important thing is making it logical. Like you can have big goals, you can have big dreams. I sometimes do like the example, I'm going to be a millionaire one day. Like this might, like for you, for me, for anyone who's just starting that business, that just seems unlogical at the start. And like, okay, maybe I shouldn't use this as my big goal, but maybe I should do it in smaller steps. It has to sound logical to you. So it gets into your conscious and then into your subconscious mind. If something doesn't sound logical, you will not believe it and you will not see the opportunities popping up for you. But let's say I want to make my first, I don't know, I feel like when you start, it was probably the first goal would be like making 1K a month or something. Maybe that for some, this sounds logical straight away. For others, this sounds quite unlogical. So maybe your goal could be then, I am signing my first client this week. Like just in the next 2 weeks, it has to sound logical to you, so you see the opportunities popping up for you. So if it gets too overwhelming, it's like I have this goal, like I want to make my first K, like my first $1,000. Like that's like you pressing the accelerator or something.
Yeah.
And then your limiting belief is like, hold on, we just started the business. This is so unlogical. It's like pushing the brake. So you have to find something that sounds logical for you. And then for you, it sounds logical. I can find my first client. Like I do this, and then I go on Facebook, I go into the gym or whatever. Like first client, that's so easy. I can do that. So I feel like that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, that's good advice. Meeting yourself where you're at. Because you do hear that with some of the manifestation things, and it's like dreaming the big bang, it'll just come to you. And it's not necessarily, you don't believe it, then it's going to be really hard. It's going to, I guess, like you said, it's going to be hard for you to find that path to actually get to achieving it if it just sounds ridiculous.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh. Well, I've got my final rapid fire question for you. If you could turn to yourself in the first year of becoming a business owner and an entrepreneur, what advice would you give to yourself?
So I think my number one advice is do what feels right and aligned to you. So kind of like stop comparing yourself to others and mute accounts on social media that make you compare yourself, because that's just something that will hold you back from doing your thing.
That's great advice. And if people want to learn more, where can they find you? How can they connect? We'll have all the links to everyone's in the show notes.
Perfect. Yeah, so I have my personal account, which is Johanna_Liana, or my coaching account, Johanna.Liana.coaching. And then I also have a podcast if they want to listen to it. It's called The Girl That Went For It. So kind of like, yeah, go for it. Going for like the goals we have and chasing them. And I also offer a course that's called Aligned Life Mastery, where I dive deeper into how your mind works, like the limiting beliefs, how the conscious and subconscious mind works, and how you can live your most authentic and aligned lives. So basically what we talked about today, just more like going more into the nitty-gritty mind work.
Yeah. Also, thank you so much. And I definitely recommend everyone go and check out Johanna's podcast. It's very motivational listen, and I'll have all the links for all of that below. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. There's lots of practical nuggets around mindset in there that I think will be really useful for everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.